Hi, Nancy.
Welcome to episode 106 of the Front Porch Book Club.
The Front Porch Book Club is a podcast that meets twice a month.
We like to dig deep into the relationship between characters and the worlds they live in.
Grab your book and iced tea and join us on the front porch.
Today, we're discussing a brand new book titled I Will Blossom Anyway by Disha Bose.
First of all, I love the cover.
Yes!
If you say back in the day, Nance, I picked the book by its cover, I did.
Yep.
This is a book I would have picked by the covers. I thought this was just the cutest little cover.
What did you like about the cover?
Maybe it's because the publisher actually gave us the book and it's not on my Kindle, which is so black and white and flat.
True.
This is colorful. I like the art. I like the way she looks by the taxi. And it's Ireland here at the other scene.
Mm-hmm.
She's facing two different ways, but I like the flowers and the birds, and it's just colorful and cute and artsy.
Very floral.
Floral.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, this book is about Durga. She's a young expat who has moved from her native Calcutta, India, to Ireland, of all places.
Yeah.
Durga comes from an educated middle-class family that observes traditional Indian ways, including arranged marriages. And Durga is anxious to escape what she thinks of as the confines of her family, and she wants to learn who she is without them. However, leaving their opinions behind is not as easy as she thinks it will be. So this book is kind of like growing up.
Yeah.
But she's in her mid-20s, so she's not a kid. But this is her first time away from home.
Yes, and even living at home, she lived what we would call a very sheltered life. And in fact, she calls it a very sheltered life, that there were so many things she knew nothing about.
Right.
That she finds out in Ireland. People her age had already had many, many experiences that she had not.
That's why a lot of people go away to college. They want to get away from their families and have a little bit of freedom, do what they want to do and make their own choices.
Yeah. I ended up feeling like this book would be a great beach read. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, this is a good beach read, I think.
But it does have some depth that explores cultural differences and family conflicts. But definitely, it's something you could stretch out on your beach towel and just read.
Yeah. So, family.
Yeah.
She comes from a conservative family. Families shape who we are and who we are with. With the family and without the family can be two different things. But we get to know her family quite well. But after she moves to Ireland, she hooks up pretty quickly, I'd say, with a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to know his family. Dad is from Ireland. Mom is an African from South Africa. So we get two different cultures from the family. And so we kind of see some contrasts in the way she was raised and the way her boyfriend is raised. And I should say that the boyfriend is also her roommate's brother. So she has a relationship with her roommate and now her roommate's brother. So we get to go to family dinners and birthday parties and goings on. And she gets exposed to a different family and different values and different way of being raised. So some of the differences with the families are India, you get a feeling from the book where she lives. It's very busy, noisy, kind of smelly.
Mm-hmm. Well, Calcutta.
And apparently not clean drinking water.
Yeah, but her family lives in a lovely home. They have a maid.
Yeah, apparently middle-class families have a maid there.
Yeah, which was not a surprise to me at all. I certainly know people from India who talked about having maids and nannies and cooks and all kinds of things.
You live a pretty good life over there if you're if you're college educated. So that does okay. But really considered middle class.
Mm-hmm.
And the family's all in their business. All of her siblings. She's got 3 siblings. They're all in everybody's business.
Mm-hmm.
Now you look at the boyfriend's family. And we've got a family that's more fractured.
Mm-hmm.
Parents drink a bit. At supper, dad says he's going to get a divorce, but apparently this isn't the first time. And I think mom just takes another drink of wine and says, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And her roommate, she really does not like her mom.
Yeah.
At all. That is a real fractured relationship. One thing that I think is interesting, and I want your perspective on, is the siblings, because she and her brother are pretty tight.
Yeah.
Durga's siblings, they're close. They grew up together. They talk to one another, but they're not as close.
I think sometimes in families where the parents have a difficult relationship and that things are unstable, feels like often in families like that, the siblings cling to one another because they're the only stability that they have. And I'm no psychologist, but I have noticed that. Now, sometimes they can be the other way, that they adopt the arguing and everything. But boy, sometimes in families where parents don't get along, siblings really rely on one another and become very close.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of what made them successful, is that they partnered together and went through the storm together. At least that's the feeling that you get.
Mm-hmm.
They're a strong support to one another.
Right.
When I read it, I felt like their parents adore them. They love them. They have them over. I think mom does really want a good relationship with her children.
Yeah.
But her daughter does make it difficult, but she's in her 20s and she's out of the home for the first time, but maybe she went away to college. I'm just not sure.
Yeah.
But she leaves the house into her first roommate, it sounds like, experience as well. She gets out of there. So they're two young girls trying to figure things out.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that I thought was interesting about that Joy Jacob relationship was that Durga comments in the book that she hears two different stories about that family from those two siblings. And I thought that was a really good detail to include in that book, because that is so true. You talk to siblings and siblings have different perspectives about their family of origin, just because of who they are, how they experience things, what they remember, what meaning they place on things that have happened. And so Jacob and Joy do have two different experiences. Jacob can't really understand Joy's
animosity towards the mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that feels real to me.
Mm-hmm. I liked that she said that too. And I thought the same thing, like, wow, that is common. Mm-hmm. You were raised in the same house, but their experiences and what they draw meaning to and what they listen to and who they become are very different as a result.
Yeah.
I thought that was good insight.
Yeah. And I thought Durga's family, very stable family, multi-generational family, in fact, that lives in that house. So her grandma lives there with them, but very stable, lots of adult influence as they were growing up, lots of love. And it felt like her siblings, in a way, were almost battling each other for that parental love and attention.
Okay, I can see that while you said that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
The need to have your family's approval, I think, was stronger there. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Joy could be a little bit out there and she wouldn't have cared maybe what her mom thought about her relationships or the way she was living her life. She was just going to live her life the way she was going to live her life. She didn't need her mom's permission. In fact, maybe a little disapproval would have been okay.
Right.
It's kind of like, I'm going to live my own life and nobody's going to tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. Where we have a different experience in India. Not only do you have your parents, you have your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your second cousins, your third cousins,
yes,
people who knew your parents growing up. You got a whole bunch of people around you that knows everything about you and maybe who you should marry.
Exactly.
So it's a totally different thing. You've got a lot of eyes on you growing up there. Mm-hmm. Why do you think she was attracted to Jacob?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the reason she was initially attracted to him is because she sat with this little group of women in the cafeteria.
Gossipy ladies who were looking.
They were looking at who else was in the company. And the leader, the queen bee of the group,
at least in that lunch group,
she anoints Jacob as the number one crush.
Yeah.
And all of the girls agree, yes, Jacob, he's dreamy. Jacob. Yeah. He is the guy. I think at that point, really, when the story opens, Durga is still looking for approval. And so here she has this stamp of approval from little gal pals at work. And when she happens to run into Jacob and they have their conversation, she is interested immediately and had been, like, she adopted a crush on him like all the other girls did, not knowing him. Now, he's apparently very good looking.
Yeah.
So it's not hard to believe, but she was ready to go with that approval.
She was smitten right away, it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
Like, he said hi to her and she was like, hi.
And then could barely talk.
Said something silly, yeah.
But I think she was totally primed. What did you think attracted Durga to Jacob? And that's the initial attraction.
At least what the gal pals were saying. He had a certain charm and charisma.
Yeah.
He had an athletic build, I think someone said, or she noted.
Yeah, and he wore clothes well, yeah. It sounds like.
For girls, that's something. Yeah. Because for their age.
He had some muscles.
Yeah. You figure, like, on the weekends when you're out really socializing with guys, they're in t-shirts and jeans. They're in their 20s, but they're seeing a professional here at the workforce. So sometimes that makes it look, oh, he wears like dress pants and he fills out his shirt and, you know, he's just not in jeans and a t-shirt at a club somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think she's really looking for bonds. I think she's looking for intimacy. She's looking for friends. She's looking for connections. She had all of that in India. She didn't even have to think twice about making friends or having support. She grew up with tons of people around her. So now for the first time, she's isolated.
Right. And she even says she didn't really have any friends growing up or in college because why did she need any more people in her life? Her family unit was more than enough for her.
And they kept her busy.
Yeah.
And they expected her home.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I'm going out to the club with my friends or we're going to learn football or whatever you do. No, because you have to come home and we have this to do and that to do. So right. It's just a different situation. So I think she was just looking to try to make some connections and figure out how to fit in. But I think, yeah, there was some charm and some good looks there at the beginning too, that you know how awkward that is when somebody talks to you. Like, this takes me back a couple of decades, Nancy, but she's so young. And that's what I kept remembering. Look, I was that age too. And I remember going, oh, he talked to me. Oh.
And again, she was so sheltered. So she didn't even have the experience of being in middle school or high school and having that kind of crush experience. This was really the first time she has that reaction.
Yeah, she's all about it. They hook up and get serious pretty quickly.
And it turns out he is really a lovely, lovely person. I mean, she's
Isn't he a
fortunate.
Wonderful first boyfriend? That's what I was going to say. Durga, you did okay. This is somebody she could have married.
Absolutely.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. So in the book, Durga's really conflicted about who she is and who she's becoming. We talked about this book before I started it. You had already started it. You said, oh, basically it's a coming of age story. So I agree. It's really about Durga finding out who she is and who she wants to be as an adult away from her family. She feels like the voice inside of her head has been drowned out by family and friends, and she is trying to figure out who she really is. So perhaps this is getting to be a little bit of a typical thing for me, but I love the opening paragraphs.
Do authors just spend a lot of time on their intros?
Yes.
Getting it quite right and setting it all up.
Because what writing teachers say is those first paragraphs should be a microcosm of your story.
Okay.
And I think that Disha really sets this up well in I Will Blossom Anyway. So here are the opening paragraphs. According to Hindu mythology, the all-forgiving goddess Durga, pure of heart, became ensnared in a losing battle against a demon who was set to destroy all humankind. When goddess Durga stopped to look around the battlefield, she found nothing but death and destruction. She became frenzied with fury at her own weakness against the demon and the futility of this battle. That was when Kali appeared, Durga's other form, her dark alter ego. Kali emerged right out of Durga's forehead, wielding a sword, wearing nothing but a sari made of a tiger's skin. Kali was invincible. Then she goes on to say, she was on the warpath now, and in her anger couldn't distinguish between good and evil anymore. So enraged was she that she wanted everyone and everything dead. My parents named me Durga, perhaps in the hope that I might embody the goddess's virtues of integrity and goodness. But I yearned to feel the full force of Kali, for her to make my toes tingle, straining to be let out.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So I doubt that you went back and reread those first paragraphs after you finished the book.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. So now hearing that setup, do you agree that that is a great setup for this book?
I do, because I really think of the story being the emerging of two parts of her. This timid, sheltered girl who is living her life for her parents and for her parents to be pleased with her. Mm-hmm. And this emerging self as somebody who is going to speak up for herself, be assertive, know what she wants, and be her own person. Mm-hmm. And so this goddess story she toys with throughout the book, it's not just here at the beginning,
right?
It's really the emerging of two parts of her into who she's going to be as an adult.
Right.
Is that how you saw it too?
Absolutely.
I did at one point look up to see what this goddess looked like. And she was like, she's beautiful. I don't know her. She's killed a bunch of people and her tongue's hanging out. How is that beautiful? There are different statues. Some of them more beautiful than others, but I don't know about beauty.
Yeah, I thought the setup was really good because it immediately sets up these two opposed ideas of who she is. Is she Durga, who her parents named her to be? Is she Kali, who she is very attracted to? Or is she someone else?
Mm-hmm. And so that changes throughout the story. Mm-hmm. It's the arc of the character, Nance, as we talk about.
It is the arc of the character.
How far is she going to go?
Right.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Durga, a little bit more about her family, because she's the middle child. So am I.
Uh-oh.
So yes, Nancy, we're going there.
But she is the middle of 4.
I was the middle of 3. I don't think it makes one bit of difference.
Okay.
Just saying. Okay. So the siblings do bicker. Tia's the oldest. She's traditional. She is in an arranged marriage.
Right.
She is going to go the traditional route. She's going to move in with his family.
Oh, she's quitting her job.
Yeah, she's all in.
Yep.
She's all in, doing what the parents want her to do. We've got her brother, who is kind of lighthearted. It seems to me he gets a little bit more freedom because he's a male in the family.
I think so, yeah.
He's got a little bit of a leeway there.
Yeah.
And then we've got a younger sister who is very independent. There's some anger there that we're not really sure where that's coming from, but she is not tolerant of Durga too much. Mm-hmm. She's her own little person. And she seems to be allowed to be that way.
Yeah.
But let's talk about our middle child, because that's who we have. Mm-hmm. We have a peacemaker.
Uh-oh.
We have a good doer. Mm-hmm. We have somebody who is not trying to make any waves anywhere. Uh-huh. with the family.
And your point is what?
That was me, Nance.
I know it was.
Typical middle child going under the radar.
Yep.
Trying to survive the chaos around her.
Yep.
So the family order in and of itself is reason for her to get out of that role of safety.
Yeah.
And to spread her own wings and find out who she is.
Definitely.
Did you pick up on the middle child nature of that?
It's hard to miss. And you're right. I think it's the combination of middle child and gender.
Yes. Yeah.
So the nub of the story that we have not gotten to yet is that part of Durga's family's conservatism means that she feels she can't introduce Jacob to them.
Oh, yes.
Because he is partially Black and he's certainly not Indian.
No. And certainly not Hindu.
Certainly not. He is Black and Irish and maybe Christian. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe Christian, Catholic. Yeah. I don't think either side took their faith very seriously.
Yeah, they're both secular.
There's cultural components to both of that.
Definitely. The other interesting twist here is Durga doesn't even want her coworkers to know they are dating. And it's not frowned upon. All they would need to do is fill out an HR form. Right. It wouldn't be a problem. But she tells Jacob she doesn't want to do it because it makes it more romantic. But you can tell that is just a total smokescreen. Mm-hmm. She just is uncomfortable enough with their relationship, and they've gotten very serious, but she just doesn't want people to know about it. So it kind of all comes to a head when Durga's older sister Tia is getting married. Of course, she's going back for the wedding. She doesn't invite Jacob. She invites her roommate, Jacob's sister, Joy, to go with her. And that really is the cracking point for Jacob. He's like, look, we've been together for 2 years. If you're so ashamed of me that I can't even be introduced to your family after 2 years, there's really just not a future for us. And that was very sad. What did you think about Durga's reluctance to let her family or even coworkers know about her relationship?
Yeah, I had to keep saying, oh, she's so young.
Yeah.
And she still needs the support and approval of her family, as we all do. It doesn't matter how old we get, I think.
Yeah.
There's always that connection, that bond you have with your family. But they start talking about this, should our coworkers know? Mm-hmm. I can certainly see, let's not make something more than what it is.
Yeah.
But they fall pretty hard and heavy pretty quick. They fall in love with each other. Mm-hmm. I think it just shows the grip that her family still has on her at that time.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh, Jacob, just hang in there. She'll figure it out. She's comfortable with his race, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's something that is holding her back, even amongst her coworkers. Does she think that they're not going to approve? Because obviously, they all think he's hot.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, as the story carries on, I'm wondering about the arc of her family, too, because she seems to think that they are not going to accept Jacob.
Right.
So if they can't accept Jacob, and I think he's thinking, if they're never going to accept me, I might as well cut this off right now.
Yeah.
I can't be in a relationship with her if I'm never going to meet her side of the family.
And I think he doesn't want a repeat of his parents' relationship where his father, an Irishman, marries a South African woman whose family disowns her, and they have no relationship with that family.
Right. I think they only visit once when they're small in South Africa. So he doesn't know his family down there. And so he certainly grew up in a household like that. And so, doesn't want to see that repeated. Good point. So do you think when she goes back to the wedding and now she doesn't have either Jacob or her roommate Joy with her.
Right.
And she discloses some of this information. Initially, they're like, wait, you had a boyfriend?
They had no idea.
What?
Yeah.
Who is he? How do you know him? What's he like? And she divulges some information they kind of are taken back a little bit, but they walk away from it with going, why didn't you think you could trust us with that? Who do you think we are? And I wonder how much of it is them having an arc in their character development of, we're raising adults here. And these adults we have less control of than maybe when they were little kids. We're now parenting adult children. And so we have to change our expectations of who they are, because each one of these siblings is doing things that is questionable in their community, not traditional, I would say.
Right.
Each of them is living a very adult path that is not following traditional Indian culture ways. So how much of it is their flexibility as parents raising these adult children rather than her just being so totally wrong about who they are? Because that has to come from somewhere. Oh, I can't take you home.
Yeah, I thought that came a little too easy, honestly, in the story. That they were like, well, we might have been surprised, but you should have tried us out. I would have liked to have seen either a little more conflict or it be a little more clear how and why she had misread her own family so completely that she was willing to give up the love of her life.
Yeah.
And it could be that by this point in the book, everything is crumbling around this family. Like you said, the children had been observing more traditional ways, but things very quickly crumble for 3 of the 4 siblings, the 3 adult siblings. I guess you could say, well, maybe her parents don't realize if everything else hadn't been crumbling around them, maybe they would have been more upset by her choice. Maybe they don't even understand that this has changed them. But I did feel like that came just a little too easy in the book, that they were like, if you love him, we love him.
Yeah. I think, Nancy, raising adult children, I think that's kind of how I looked at it. The brother, Arjun, he runs off with his cousin's wife, and they are still, I'm going to say, newlyweds.
Less than a year, it seems like, yeah.
Yeah, because she says she's been mistreated.
No, I think it's clear she's been mistreated.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. Again, very traditional understanding of newlyweds, but they want her to immediately have a baby.
That's right.
She's not conceiving. It's actually not her problem because they've been to specialists. It's his problem. He refuses to acknowledge that. They make her do all sorts of crazy treatments to make her more likely to get pregnant. Yeah, I mean, they mistreat her terribly.
I forgot about all of that.
But still, he does run off with his cousin's wife.
Yeah, that's some drama right there.
And then what we haven't said is Tia, within a month of being married, divorces her husband because he's hit her.
Yeah. And I love that she takes a week. She doesn't come home right away. She gets herself a different hotel room and she stays and she ponders out the rest of the week. What do I want to do about this? And then she comes back very assertive and strong and says, I'm not living with him. He did this.
Yeah.
So her parents say, we support you. We'll figure out a way to
make him pay.
Yeah. So there is some liberalness here. But again, we've got adult children and she has made her adult decision. I'm not living over there, period. It's not open to discussion.
Right.
So what are you going to do with that as parents?
Yeah, I think Durga's parents are a little more modern than she gives them credit for. Yeah. And it is true that I think even adult children can look at their parents from the eyes more of childhood than seeing them for who they really are.
Yeah. And what we also kind of learn is that Durga has moved out from the house. None of these other siblings have.
Right.
So this middle child, who is the good one,
yep.
She moves out and she ends up inspiring her siblings to spread their wings. Her brother reaches out to her and says, I just want to let you know I'm with my cousin. And her family doesn't know where she is. But I'm telling you, I'm with her and we're fine and we're going to figure this out. So she becomes almost in a leadership position of her siblings. Like they have seen that you can move out of Calcutta and out of your parents' protection and have your own life and make your own adult decisions. And it's okay. And mom and dad they'll live.
Yeah.
They will survive it.
Right.
So that's inspirational to me that the middle child does that.
Oh, that is inspirational for you.
Yes, it is.
I did not see that coming, that Durga was going to end up playing that kind of inspirational role for her siblings, but I really like that too.
Yeah.
I thought that was really great. And then Tia eventually even comes to visit her several months later over the Christmas break. And
yes,
we see a whole different side of Tia, who is now exploring who is she without this arranged marriage and without her parents.
And she's the older sibling.
Yes, but she's learning.
She's asking her younger sister questions.
Yeah.
And she's trying to figure out, she's going to be leaving the nest. She's not going back to Calcutta. I mean, she's living there now.
Yeah, she's going to Singapore.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a big change.
Yeah, well, she's got a job there. And
she's got a job. And so she's going to get her own apartment, and she's going to have a life, and she's going to have friends outside the home and the culture of India.
Yeah.
How inspirational is that? That's so cool.
Yeah.
So we see this arc in all of them, even the youngest one who keeps her distance between her siblings. She comes around to Durga a little bit too and starts being nicer and talks to her more.
Yeah.
She pals up a little bit.
Yeah.
So they all kind of shape and develop and grow.
One big thing we have not talked about, and for anyone who's listening who does not want to know a big plot twist, turn us off now, because there is a big plot twist that I did not see coming. The book does hinge on that plot twist. Come back once you've read the book. But for others willing to forge on, the book is also a book about grief.
Yeah.
Because while Jacob and Durga are broken up, Jacob has an aneurysm and dies. And so Joy and her parents are dealing with grief at Jacob's death. Durga is dealing with grief at his loss, at the way they had broken up, compounded by the fact that most people in her life didn't even know she was dating him. So she is not getting support from her coworkers or her family. It ends up being a bit of a spiral for Durga of grief and remorse, and she makes some poor decisions along the way. But I did feel like this portrait of grief that Disha paints, I thought it was really good because it was nuanced and each person grieved differently. First of all, did you see Jacob's death coming? And what did you think about the portrayal of grief?
We've had a lot of fun, and it's been laughing and coming of age and relationships and family and culture and all of that. But then you've got this very sad situation that happens. Mm-hmm. I really feel for the sister, Joy.
Oh.
Her brother is really such a close support to her that she is really feeling the loss of this. At the same time, she's feeling this tremendous loss in her life. She's in a kind of an estranged situation with Durga because Durga has broken up with her brother right before this happened. So the two closest people in her whole life, her brother, who is gone, and her roommate, who she's still upset with her for breaking up with him at some level. She really flounders, and my heart really goes out to her. She's really not grounded. Durga seems to be able to manage life. Now, she's not making great decisions. I can't really say anything other than you're right. They're grieving very differently about this, and the parents are too.
Yeah.
What happens with Joy, though, is she gets a little bit closer to her parents and her nuclear family, which is good because she needs that support.
Yeah.
She does eventually develop a better relationship with Durga, but that's still hard because she knows she hurt her brother.
So the book starts with Durga meeting Nile on a riverbank, and he is throwing a stick. His dog is jumping in the river and getting it. They have a cute little flirty conversation. Throughout the book, she thinks about, well, what if I had taken Niall up on his invitation to go out that evening instead of meeting with Jacob, who Joy was trying to engineer a
getting back together.
Yeah. But every once in a while, she would think about Niall. The book ends on that riverbank. I think the perfect way to close this book up with a bow tie would be for her to see Niall and them get together. That is not what happens at all. She sees the man that she's just kind of had a situationship with, and they have realized that they've been using each other, but they see that there's more to each other. So it looks like those two are going to get together. Did you think Niall was going to return? And what did you think about the situation with Luke?
I did think Niall was going to return.
Did you also? Okay.
Yeah, it's very Hollywood of us, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought he would be the one to return. And I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't him.
Me too.
Because I thought, oh, she's settling. Didn't the book talk about her sister settling?
Yeah.
Oh, she's settling with that guy. That's the family expectation that she marry him. They figured this out when she was a baby. When I say arranged marriage, I put little quotes around that because she certainly could marry whoever she wanted.
Right.
The parents weren't that traditional to say, oh, this is a person you're married and we gave them money.
Right, right.
Yeah. So I kind of felt like you're settling. You blamed your sister for that, but you're settling.
Yeah.
Don't you think she settled a little bit for that?
Yeah.
I don't think he was anybody that special. I mean, he seemed like an average dude.
But he was someone who self-professed was not someone who was going to get serious about anyone. He was more of a Rolling Stone kind of a guy.
Yeah. So I was kind of disappointed that it was him.
And they didn't seem to have any kind of intellectual connection. He would just come over and plant himself on her couch and watch TV or something. There didn't seem to be much of a spark there.
No, it didn't seem to be much of a spark.
Okay, so I have to ask you, by the end of the book, though, did you think Durga found her alter ego, Callie?
I think she's a work in progress.
Yeah.
This definitely could take on a series, I thought. What's going to happen to her siblings as they grow and develop. That youngest one, I'd like to see a book on her.
Yes.
She's got a ways to go in life.
Yeah.
She's got more to learn. I don't know that this is going to be her soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, it would not be a bad idea for her to be on her own for a little bit.
I totally agree.
Don't hook up with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, this generation talks about being single means that you're just not dating anybody. Mm-hmm. Just go out and have a good time.
Right.
Grieve. You're still grieving.
Yes, absolutely.
Figure that out. Give it some time. Don't get hooked up in a new relationship. Just still continue to feel yourself out and to learn. Go see your sister in Singapore.
Yep. And build some other relationships. So she has Joy and now Joy's girlfriend. They all are getting along.
That's not enough.
Build other friendships. Figure out who you are as a friend. Who are you as a neighbor? Figure out some of those relationships and don't be quite so defined by your romantic relationship.
Yeah, she just really clings to one person.
Yeah.
I thought her relationship with Joy was unhealthy at times. Like, it's a little too close. Mm-hmm. She is just latching on to Joy. You only have two people in your life. And okay, she's an introvert, whatever.
Yeah.
She wants time by herself on the weekends. I can appreciate all that.
Yeah.
But gosh, for someone who came out of such a busy, loud culture with lots and lots of support around her, the book does talk about other friends that are kind of running around here and there. But yeah, I would like to see her.
But they're more Joy's friends.
They were Joy's friends. You're right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily people I think she would choose as friends.
I think that's exactly right. They were Joy's friends.
So she needed to figure out.
And in fact, she didn't even like a lot of Joy's friends.
Yeah. So she has still some work to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a very good assessment.
And we don't want her to be all Callie.
No.
Callie is not a great role model. She kills people.
Right.
But we want her to have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
We want her to be assertive. We want her to put herself first and not settle, like drinking if she doesn't want to drink, smoking if she doesn't want to smoke.
Right. I did think Durga was an interesting character. I liked her. I liked meeting her. I liked her family. I liked her story.
Yeah, I like this book a lot. And again, as far as like, we really got into this pretty deep, Nance.
Yeah.
But I do like your comment that you can just take this book, take it to the beach, get it all sandy and get your soap screen on it and really have a nice time reading this book and walking through life with her in her young years of trying to figure all of this out and be very happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And recognize yourself as we did recognize yourself in her challenges and struggles.
Yeah, we all moved out from home and had our own experiences of growing up and figuring out who we are. Hey, I'm still trying to figure out who I am.
Well, you're not kidding, me too. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Our website is frontporchbookclub.com.
Our episodes come out twice a month on the first and third Wednesday of every month.
See you next time, Lenny.
See you, Nance.